Okay, so I'm going to preface this saying this is something I'm learning about. It's not something I'm an expert in. My goal with this project is I'm building a robot for Maker Faire, Seattle Mini Maker Faire in the middle of September. So I've still got 3 months to figure things out, and this is like steps in process. So a couple of years ago, there was this really cool set of YouTube videos where people took the old robots from Chuck E. Cheese and started making them play modern music. Yeah.
So I have to ask, is this an actual, I've never been to Chuck E. Cheese or really ever heard it except in social context.
Okay.
So is this like a robot? Those are like known robots?
These are like known robots.
Okay.
So Nolan Bushell, who was one of the main guys behind Atari, took some of his Atari money and said, I want to open up a chain of pizza restaurants with high tech.
Are you shitting me? That's actually where Chuck E. Cheese's came from?
This is where actually Chuck E. Cheese came from.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Everything makes more
Chuck E. Cheese just became way cooler in my mind than they ever had before.
And so he found this crazy inventor dude down in Florida and said, build me 500,000 robots. We're going nationwide with this thing. And there up until about a year ago, there was, and they started putting a Chuck E. Cheese in every town with more than 4 stoplights in the 80s. And then all of a sudden they stopped, and there was this entire warehouse full of these robots up until about a year ago when the roof caved in and it burst into flames, and I think some insurance firms involved.
Can you still acquire those robots?
They're all burned, right?
So for about 20 years, this massive collection of half-built robots was just sitting out there. And there was a documentary film that came out about 5 years ago about this crazy redneck in Arkansas who bought one of these shows for $20,000, and he started doing these videos, which pissed off the guy who had the warehouse full of these robots, and he started making videos. And they basically were dueling on YouTube for about a year and a half. And there's this insane documentary. It's called The Rocket-Fire Explosion, which details the story behind these robots and everything that was going on with these two guys fighting it out for YouTube views on making these videos. It's completely insane.
Rocket-Fire Explosion?
A Rocket-Fire Explosion. So it's great, hilarious stuff. But I watched that and went, man, I wish I had $30,000 so I could buy a set of robots. When I saw the documentary, which you tend to do. Then about a while ago, I built this crazy Burning Man project, which was a giant ass monorail that could drive people back and forth at Burning Man. And I was pretty burned out after that, and
What year did that get deployed?
What?
Did it get deployed?
Yeah, it got deployed.
What year was that? I went into
was it the year I was there?
yeah.
I don't think it was there when I was there.
What did it look
I
like?
want to say 07. I've got video of it running on my
Shit, I
laptop.
think I was there in 08 maybe.
Yeah.
So, 08 or 09.
I was there.
08 or 09 I was there, so I might have seen it, which would be hilarious.
We should have a separate, smaller breakout to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big Fan 2.0 later. But that's hilarious.
So I built this giant ass monorail, and I got it running for one night, which is an entire talk on how you never trust anyone who says they've got an engineering degree from Caltech. But so next year I'm completely burned out. I don't want to do Burning Man. I don't want to look at an art project. I said, I'm going to Disney World and I'm going to actually ride a monorail instead of building. So I went there and they had this whole room full of animatronic robots called the Tiki Moose. And I went, this is a great project. I should build one of these. And this has just sort of sat and percolated in the back of my brain for like 5 years.
That's like one of the oldest animatronics they did, right? That Tiki
Yeah.
thing?
It's one of the original things. And when they did it, there was like some complicated stuff, and like Walt Disney like personally owned the Tiki Room, even though it was in Disneyland and was like charging separate money. So it's a separate attraction from the rest of your Disneyland ticket. And
So basically, like, I get to make money off this thing, personally.
yeah. And so one of the things they built for that was to get people into Walt Disney's thing was an animatronic bird to tell people about the Tiki Room. So,
What time frame was that?
this was like early 60s.
Yeah, it looks like the dress style of 60s.
Yeah. Yeah, and please note the Catholic Church endorses Disneyland because there were a couple of nuns in the ad. So, that's fun. And so, I'm just like percolating. I've got this idea. I want to build a show. I want to do this, and this is the first year where I'm not running Maker Faire, so which is kind of glorious. So I can build a project instead of building an event. And these robots are old. I mean, Rocket Fire Explosion is literally run by an Apple IIe with a floppy disk. Like you put in the floppy disk, and it sends off MIDI codes to cause the robots to move in certain sequences.
A much more reliable era.
Yeah, I mean, other than like instructions that Apple gave with those computers, like drop to reset the RAM chips when you unbox it. Yeah, it's great.
Well, some of the people in this room now know how to deploy firmware, continuous delivery. So.
Yeah.
Right, so you thinking you want to connect his system to what you're working on right now?
We should actually have an interesting project. Another project.
Okay.
Got a week
So-
to firmware company? No.
Anyway, rough goal is to build a robot that works like the attractive Tiki bird for Maker Faire in September. And so I'm starting to like look around and like start to figure out, okay, how do I hook up motors to this thing? How do I start to run actual animations that aren't, all software and things like that. And so I found this crazy local artist who's actually going to build the shell for my robot, and I just have to make the guts work, which is the right thing to do since, I'm a coder and I think green screens are really cool looking. So my rough project goals are a robot that can interact with participants, yeah, I know I'm a flippin' burner, autonomously. AKA I can walk away from this thing and it's still going to be able to see and recognize people in the room. It can detect the number of people around and then turn on an attraction mode. If you've ever looked at a slot machine, sometimes or a video arcade machine, no one's playing me, starts to show off all the really cool stuff. Start to run through some scripted materials and have some voice activation stuff. So it's looking like I'm probably going to be building this using Arduinos and Raspberry Pis. This is Raspberry Pi computer. I'm not sure if you guys have played with them, but it's roughly the equivalent of a Pentium 2 processor.
I love how that thing used to take the entire desk.
Right.
Yeah, I remember a guy getting into trouble because we gave him a brand new Pentium 2 machine. It was like $10,000 and he broke it.
And now it's like
And now this is
$20.
$20.
And now it's powered over USB.
Actually, it's
Two, the one with the float bug,
That was the original Pentium.
that was the original thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's probably going to be connected to a series of Arduino computers. Arduinos are these guys. They're basically rough prototyping boards with 2 microprocessors on them. One microprocessor handles the USB connection, the other handles input-output signals from different things. So if you look here, so it's a hobbyist computer board. It's only got 32 kilobytes of RAM.
Of course.
The fun bit on it is you've got both digital and analog
It's
inputs.
like $30.
So you can hook up a whole bunch of devices, read the input, and then when you see an input, like say a keyboard press or a button press or something like that, you can trigger a subroutine which fires off, go do thing. And this is like a super blown up version that looks like absolute garbage on here. But yeah, so you've got grounds, you've got voltage outs, you've got analog inputs, you've got digital inputs, USB connection, power connection. It's a pretty straightforward little board for getting stuff done. And the way it works is it uses a language called processing, which is roughly Python-like, Python with a bit of C. So,
Is it white space dependent?
no, it's not white space dependent, thank God.
Better than Python.
Yeah, better than Python, and it's got semicolons. It's seriously fancy stuff.
What OS is it running? Is it like some weird Linux variant? Or
No,
Or doing
so
some OS.
what this does is it actually compiles it down to assembly language that it then sends over to the board.
Okay, so it's like a total like loop that it keeps
It's a
going over and
total, it's a
over.
total.
It's exactly a loop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, loop.
Yeah.
It's a very straightforward interface, and you're literally like doing.
Polling.
So by the way, if anybody wonders, aerospace like braking systems are totally exactly like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you sit there, you set up, hey, I want to send something over the serial connection over the USB, and then read in your sensor value, which is one of your analog inputs in this code, and then send that variable over the wire, and then you can do something with it on a grown-up computer.
Is that called endless?
What this program does.
Endless.
This is a relatively simple program to drive a servo. There are essentially 3 different types of motors. There's linear actuators, which can drive, which basically drive smoothly. There are servos where you can go, I want to do a fixed rotation, and then there's just, here's a motor, here's electricity, go. This is an example of a servo program, and actually this is an example of a servo program, as long as the gods are smiling on me. I'm just plugging this into power, and it's just driving a simple servo. Rotate 90 degrees, wait, rotate 90 degrees.
Yeah, selecting which one of us to kill.
Nice robot. So,
It's getting self-aware.
and it's becoming self-aware. Yeah, my architecture, when I get to this, is probably going to be, I've got on order a LiDAR system, which is a radar system, which will let me actually determine shapes in the area, which is what I'm going to use. So my goal is to write a Raspberry Pi program that looks at a room and goes, oh, there's 3 people standing near me, using facial tracking and LiDAR. The facial track. So if you've ever played with like an iPhone camera app and you hold up a picture of someone and hey, there's a cool little animation. Attaching a radar system to that allows you to determine whether or not that's actually someone there. And so that'll make it so that the system is less easy to be tricked. And the sound is going to be running on the Raspberry Pi, and then it's going to be sending signals over to Arduino to actually run the animation, the physical animation loops. Drive this servo, move the beak this number of degrees in this amount of time, and all of that.
So the Raspberry Pi is doing all the heavy lifting then?
The Raspberry Pi is going to be, the Raspberry Pi is going to be the computational source, and then the Arduinos are actually going to be driving the motors, because
You can't put much processing on there, do we know? I mean,
No,
you'd actually run a long enough loop, you can get that thing, I think, out of sync, right?
yeah, I mean, you've only, on an Arduino, you've only got 32K,
Yeah.
and it's
Professor, it's more like it's a controller thing, not a computer.
Yeah,
So just
yeah.
two different things.
Yeah.
the one thing that makes it more of a computer is you can do the variable inputs, and you can actually like hook it up to like voltmeters or light sensors or water hydro sensors and things like that, and you can actually like interact with the physical world in a relatively basic way. So this is the program that is driving the servo. So like basically loop, go 90 degrees.
Hey Rob, you're cutting off a bit on the left.
Oh, I am.
It's just the screen.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a screen. It's a screen.
So
Alright.
yeah, if you unminimize or unmaximize, or
Yeah, it's good.
like
All right. So I'm gonna
What's
just
that? We knew what you meant.
change
Unminimize.
this.
Oh, you're gonna make it into Owlhead, aren't you?
Something like that.
Is there
And
no
It's
on
gonna
this?
spin all the way around.
Usually the wires are one.
What
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
is that?
the
What
wires
movie is
along.
that where the face goes all the way
Go
around
around
to
the
the other
other
side?
Oh, Exorcist.
Yeah,
that's
Big element.
I was thinking of the little
Is that the one with the clown?
There you go.
Yeah,
So-
isn't it that has like the head that goes all the way
Yeah.
It's been many movies at this point.
Yeah.
Scared the shit out of everybody.
It scares the shit. I was scared out of.
I'm not super happy with this.
I was
um,
The original servo.
Yeah, you
just
know that.
because, you know, it's doesn't give me a really smooth animation.
Yeah,
and
that's
I've been,
not all the way around. If it went a little further, then it'd be creepy.
it's pretty
It's just
creepy.
looking behind
I
itself.
mean,
Your
Like,
programmer
you know,
already
but
here.
not-
with
if it
the
went like
eyes and
another
shit.
like 30 degrees, then I'd be creeped out.
let's do
that.
No.
Then get some audio.
Yeah, exactly. And have it like wiggle up and down, like say like.
We got a tiny van.
What does it actually mean to be, when you say my servo.write, like, it's hard for me to understand what that means in terms of like the protocol of a motor.
Okay.
Like what is that actually doing?
So what that's actually doing is roughly, so the way these things work is, and that's a bad
And
one.
a different marker. I have a permanent one.
Yeah.
Just do what Bryce does, right on the wall.
No,
Yeah.
Take 3.
Perhaps the board is effective. Yep.
Alright,
Now set that around.
and we're getting
Imagine,
worse.
if you will.
Are there any markers?
If they're bad, you
So-
just put them back in the
Okay,
box.
so basically the way this works is there is a circle and it's got a bunch of electromagnets on it. And you know how you can, by adding electricity to something, you can change north?
Yeah.
works under the same principle. By adding electricity to different gears, you can actually move it in roughly 15-degree increments. And so what I'm telling it to do is I'm telling it, move this many steps, move this many degrees. And so different electromagnets are actually getting reset.
Right. I'm mostly curious about how is that communicated to the servo? As every servo ever made have like some kind of analog protocol or digital protocol, I don't even know, to say which poles to turn on, what have you.
So this particular servo has a digital where you're actually writing a variable to it.
Got it.
And you're saying, move this many degrees.
I think
There-
the answer is that in general, the servo library, my servo is a library in here that is converting that number to voltage in a general case, isn't it?
Actually, voltage.
Or do
rate-
servos
yeah,
actually
yeah,
have-
it's actually converting it into this number of radians.
Is that, so the servos actually keep a register in them that
Yeah,
is
there's-
keeping track of the radians and they do the conversion?
This
That would make sense.
this particular one does because it's like a $50 servo.
Is that cheap or expensive?
That is expensive. That is the, thank you very much for coming and shopping at Adafruit
Okay.
level. And like this is another example of a
Like
servo.
you didn't harvest your servo out of some cheap $10 pistol?
Actually, I did try that. I found a $7 parrot on Amazon, and I gutted it, and when I actually ran power to the motor, it spazzes out like an epileptic. Like, it literally convulses.
That's a feature though, right?
Yes, it's called scaring the bejeebers out of little kids.
Right. So with that myservo.write is writing to, what pin do you have it connected to?
It's actually pin 9 on here.
And that's an analog pin, right?
No, it's one of the digital.
Oh, that's a digital pin.
That's a
Okay.
digital pin.
So the pins have there's two types of pins. There's digital pins and analog pins, and you can write different numbers to those. And I'm guessing your servo has a spec around it that says this number means this number means,
Yeah,
right?
and so this is a different type of servo. That one actually, this one is hooked up to power and ground and then the digital output. That one actually has, the white cable actually reports back the position that it's in. So you can actually like say, what's your current position? Okay, move this number of
Analog pin,
degrees.
they say
Right, okay.
from 0 to 1.
Got
it.
Range.
And how much is
And it
that
says
one?
over that different voltage range, which is
This
0 to 1
is
by
much lower power.
It's gonna be
I
different
think
from
it was
like
like
modern
30 bucks.
airplanes, right? Some of our airplanes
But,
are analog, not digital.
Yeah, honestly, I
So
don't
some
know.
servers
I
run
have,
that way. They do
yeah,
like
like-
fully analog, and some like he's got. a
you know,
Yeah, that's
if you know, it used to be when I was growing up, I got a paycheck and I just went to the record store.
Yeah.
And said, I've got
Do you use
X number of
analog pins
dollars. Same
Those would
thing.
write the same.
And those are like, I've got X number of dollars.
Because those are
give me.
saying mid voltage.
What have you got in stock?
Yeah. So it's basically saying, hey, put it
So,
up a little bit more, go down a little bit more.
and then this-
Whatever is gonna be the control plane for like
This
an
is
airplane or whatever.
this is just a
that
straightforward
case,
motor.
Doesn't
And
require a lot.
you
right?
just
Like,
say,
Give it voltage and it'll
give
go.
it voltage and go this
more, a
way.
little bit less.
And it goes
This
off.
is
this
a little
way.
bit more specific.
Cool.
So, I don't have a linear actuator because I really hope I was gonna need to buy one. But I think in order to get the smoothness of an animation that I want, I'm going to have to go that route. So, this is stuff I'm playing at right now.
What is it that it's going to be used in?
It's going to be used in a robot that sits at the entrance of the event and like tells people about the event, and that's the goal.
You should get an impinged reader, see if you can determine who is walking past. And have it say, hello, John Smith, yeah.
Or all the VIP
So-
members get like VIP tags, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, actually, there are some ideas about doing that around Bluetooth LE, because Bluetooth LE is promiscuous in sending out your signal. So if any of you guys you're wearing a Fitbit, so your Bluetooth LE device just broadcasts and says, hey, is anyone around? Is anyone around? Is anyone around? And then when you've got a phone that's running the Fitbit software, it sees that signal, goes, hey, I'm around, and what's your ID? Grabs that, grabs the number of steps, and then just uploads it to the cloud. It doesn't matter if, so you could be wearing a Fitbit.
I like how
What-
Bryce is like shaking his head.
No,
He's
it's-
like,
You could-
shit, like this is terrible.
You could be
I
wearing-
hate this.
You could be wearing a Fitbit in the middle of Yellowstone without a cell phone, and you walk past someone with a cell phone with the Fitbit software, and it'll upload your steps while,
Evil.
yeah.
Oh man, there's a great product around tracking people with Fitbits there.
But yeah, like drones will like identify a person and like fly around them and shit.
Yeah, well,
Oh, man.
I mean, it's roughly what Apple is doing with the AirPods as well. I mean, you pop this thing open and it sends out a Bluetooth broadcast saying, hey, I exist. And then at that point it does the handshake for setting up a Bluetooth 2 connection to send audio, because you can't actually send audio over Bluetooth LE. So, yeah, you're sort of watching.
pair it first?
What?
You have to pair the devices first before they trust it, right?
Not with Bluetooth LE.
Really?
Bluetooth LE,
is
Bluetooth
just
LE,
discovery protocol.
yeah,
More than
Bluetooth,
yeah.
yeah. And then, when your phone sees the Bluetooth LE packet saying I'm in discovery mode, at that point it flips you into the Bluetooth 2 audio pair, where you used to have to do the hold the button and sync. They just bypass that. They go, oh, I know this device is here, I know what the ports are, make the connection, and you go. Which is what all the cool Apple tech is behind that.
Ease of use.
Yeah,
More and more trade-offs of convenience and privacy.
yeah, but
I'm trying to trigger Bryce's anxiety.
Yeah, I'm like, so when does Bryce
Everybody
like
knows
tear
that
down
you're
all of
like-
this?
It's funny, it's dangerous to be walking around with
Wear this.
It's walking around with it.
Well, not only that, but he's like, yeah.
Yeah, and that's right. I borrow Sonny's Fitbit, and then he says, "Dude, you need to calm down your heart rate like later on tonight." Right? What are you anxious, man? Do you need somebody to talk to?
yeah. Well, actually,
Was it like, hello, Dave?
Yeah.
I mean, it opens up all sorts of like weird privacy stuff, because like I've been like sending my Apple Health numbers over to my doctor to put into my chart, and then my chart syncs it back to Apple Health. So I've actually got, like all of these like numbers like flowing back and forth, and God forbid, someone steals my phone, they're gonna have all my blood information. So that's all I've really got so far on this. So like they say, the best way to learn something is to try and teach it. So that's what I'm trying to do.